Hey, welcome back to another Sam Pies podcast show where we're entertaining entrepreneurs, personal lives. We're changing one life at a time. I want to thank everybody for joining our podcast, listening. We got over 96,000 hits on our YouTube. I just want to thank everybody personally for subscribing and listening to our podcast. My book, El Presidente, The American Dream, I wrote a chapter in there in 2015. I sent it to Trump. Trump signed off on it in 2016. But I told everybody, you're going to get deported and you're going home. Anybody with an I-10 number, I told them you're going home. A lot of people looked at me crazy, but I watched HUD stop giving housing to the children that were legal because their parents were illegal or had I-10 numbers. So that was the first sign. Then I seen Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac stop giving loans to the I-10s or buying the I-10 number loans from the banks and everybody else. So that was my first sign to see that the government was now preparing to deport, stop giving the benefits to these individuals. And so in the book, I told them, if you stepped on U.S. soil without a visa, you stepped here illegal. You bought a house illegal. You opened a bank account illegal. You bought a house. You had children here illegally. So if you're listening to Donald Trump and the henchmen, I call, you're now looking at two words that's a huge indicator that due process. Due process means that I have the right as a citizen to a judge, to a courtroom, to a lawyer, to a process in the system that gives me a fair trial. They're saying now that the illegal immigrants do not have due process. I don't know if you've been watching the news, but they're just donated 1,000 acres in the valley to start building detention centers and all these processes. They're going to deport. And in my book, I said it clearly. Florida was the first state to start implementing some of these rules. Texas was next, but they put it on hold because of a lawsuit. But here we are. They got the people in place, and Google, not Donald Trump, Google the people that he's putting in place and what they stand for and how they think and what they're looking for. These governors that are talking sanctioned cities, they're talking about arresting them, deporting them with the people that they want to protect. So I think it's serious, and I think 14 million people are going to get deported, and that's going to open up jobs, that's going to open up housing, that's going to open up a bunch of different things that people, if they're in a position, will buy these houses at 10 cents to the dollar, that will go out and get these jobs or companies that these people have worked 20 to 30 years so hard. Now, this is my prediction that if you have an I-10 number and you got a bank account, again, my opinion, if I were president, that's the first thing I would do is I would shut down the bank accounts with an I-10 number, freeze your money. Then what are you going to do? So I'm telling people, get your house in order. Keep some cash. Keep some credit. Keep some things open that you will be able to maneuver when he takes oath on the 19th. This is when the process begins. And the question to me that I ask myself, am I going to be able to help somebody with an I-10 number that's here illegally without breaking the law? I've worked too hard to build my companies, and I have to question myself, am I going to get arrested? Am I going to be put in jail for helping individuals with an I-10 number? So I'm trying to tell as many people as I can, put your house in order now. Build an LLC, put a trust, put your assets in, equity strip your assets, because most individuals have their houses paid, have their trucks paid, and all these assets are up for grab if you're getting deported. If you did not put a plan, it's like if your house is on fire, what plan did you put with your kids? Where are you going to meet? How do you get to safety instead of running back into the house on fire? You've been warned. They're warning you on TV on a daily basis. On a daily basis. It's like the wildfire going on in LA right now. You're not going to be able to stop these individuals like that fire if you don't have the paperwork to sustain that you are legally here with a visa, a permanent resident, or a citizen here in America. It's going to get tough, but there's going to be a lot of opportunity and chaos right now. I believe the president of Mexico has already started building out areas where these individuals that are going to be deported will be able to be housed, taken care of until they can move on. The president is now cooperating with Donald Trump on this immigration deportation. So I think it's very interesting that a lot of things are moving. If you pay attention about Canada, the prime minister stepping down, just a lot of things that are happening with Mexico and Canada that are falling into line with Trump and his administration of the things of making America great again. I don't know if people are understanding that they're changing the name from the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. So a lot of things that Donald Trump is implementing, a lot of U.S. citizens are for. And the borders are now falling in line. And everybody that's a billionaire is pretty much falling in line with Donald Trump. They're donating $1 million to his swear-in and so inauguration. And so I tell a lot of people, look, a lot of things are happening. You can stay in denial. You can close your eyes. You can put your head in the sand. But there's a lot of moving pieces that are taking place right now. And Mexico is now looking to sustain these individuals that are going to get deported in housing and just different areas until they can figure out these people going home and figuring out how they're going to deal with this mass deportation that's about to take place. Again, I tell everybody, my opinion, you're going to get deported if you have an I-10 number. It's going to get very difficult for employers to hire I-10 individuals without getting prosecuted, that they're abating human trafficking. It's going to be difficult with these individuals that are now in the cabinet, especially the Cesar that took over the immigration. I think this guy is serious. He's not playing, and he's warning a lot of people. You need to listen up, put your house in order. And for 44 years, I've been in business. And I've always been trying to prove myself. I've always been trying to prove myself right. This is the first time in my life that I hope I'm wrong. But if I'm not, prevent. Be proactive. Start doing the things that you need to do in case you do get deported and you can secure your assets for your loved ones that are going to stay here. Please pay attention to what's going on and understand that there's some steps that you can take to prevent losing everything that you worked so hard for here in America. I believe that all these warehouses that are being built is strategically being built because the tariffs that Trump and his administration are going to impose on China and different countries, Korean, Iranian. I think if you're in business, you need to analyze where you're getting your products and your services from. You don't want to overbuy the products and services, but you want to be able to buy enough product and service to last you 12 months, 24 months. Hey, everybody talked about a reserve for 3 to 6 months. And so what happened in the pandemic? I think we're still in the pandemic. They never really said it was over. So myself, my opinion, I'm analyzing computers, chips, anything that I'm buying to service my clients, where I can store up some of this material, some of this stuff. Looking at where lumber's coming from. I'm talking to people from Brazil and looking at different things to import. And I think you need to look for a second solution and maybe even try some of those other products that you were reluctant to use, or because you got used to just using this one product from a certain country. You need to look at the tariffs. And yes, I believe the prices are going to go up. The lumber had went up maybe about 2 years ago. I want to say in October of 23, somewhere around there. And I had just bought 10 trucks full of 18-wheelers full of lumber. And I was able, it was 22, I'm sorry. It was October of 22 where I bought 10 18-wheelers of lumber. What I didn't realize was the lumber was going to shoot up. And I was able to help a lot of my contractors not bust out of their contracts and save those contracts because I didn't go up on prices on my lumber. I kept it the same and still made money, but it was the relationships that I made with these contractors that are now buying supplies from me for Whataburger, Twin Peaks, Take 5, the houses. I mean, they seen that I was there to help them when I could have gouged them with the prices, and I chose not to. And so from May of 22 to the present, I've made millions of dollars with these contractors selling material because they have faith in my company and they understand that I didn't gouge them when they really needed the hand of not busting out of these contracts. So I think people need to really analyze these tariffs and get ready for a second, third choice from different countries that will not have these tariffs, or start ordering in bulk, just enough to supply 12 months, maybe 24 months, depending what business you're in and what product or service you have. I believe right now, 2025, you need to be proactive. Prevention. There's a good book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, that starts with the end in mind. Stephen Covey was an excellent writer. The 8th Habit, but right now, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Peter Drucker in Managing in Financial Crisis. I believe that's a great 2 books that you could start with. Financial IQ with Robert Kiyosaki. Again, I've read about 700-800 business books. I've been implementing a lot of these things. So I tell a lot of people, look, it's just not reading and listening to podcasts. It's implementing these things that you're learning. And that way you can do trial and error. So I tell a lot of people, look, 2025 is going to be a great year for those individuals that stayed proactive and prevented the crisis from the tariffs and everything that's going on. I believe start with the end. If you don't have your funeral services in place, start there. I did. Get the suit, get the pastor, get the preaching done. So I bought all those things about 15, 18 years ago, and so I don't have to worry about those things. I did my will. I got life insurance policies that are in place. I put a trust. I'm working on my trust right now. I'm moving assets over. So I'm always staying proactive in my business, my personal life, and in my spiritual life. You know, I'm up at 3 in the morning praying, asking God for direction and understanding the books that I'm reading and how can I prepare. Now, you cannot get 100% prepared. A lot of people try to get it perfect and they never launch. They never get out there to figure out how it's going to work. And I tell people all the time, look, I've jumped out there without no parachute and I've landed on my rear and ended up $2 million upside down. Well, how did you get out of it? Begging, pleading, borrowing, pawning. And that's how I became good at raising capital, because I had to ask people to bail me out of the situations I got into. And most of the time it was my client. I could raise millions of dollars just with my clients, no contract, no nothing, and they'll cut a check to me. But again, I built value. I built trust. I helped them go to another level in their businesses without having to charge them or gouge them. I was able to help these companies. My highest paid company makes $25 million a year, and that guy will cut me a check, $100,000, $200,000 to me with no question. Doesn't even want the business plan. So again, I think you build value as you help other people get to where they need to be. They'll help you get to where you need to be. Hey, thank you guys for listening to another podcast. I hope that the information, the nuggets, you'll be able to implement and use in your business, your life, your spiritual walk. Again, I want to thank all you guys who subscribe to me on YouTube. And again, I want to thank every single person out there. And I wish the best to you guys in your endeavors, whatever it may be. Thank you.